Hey everyone, and welcome back to another installment of the weekly catch-up podcast. It is Sunday, June 27, 2021, and this is the 75th episode of our humble little show. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. B-Rad Colvin.
That'd be me.
75, dude. Like
3/4.
yeah, because what was the old thing you'd get syndication at like 100 episodes back in the sitcom era?
Maybe so.
Was that like 5 seasons of 20 episodes ordered where they could finally say, I wonder if they like wrap that into like, well, we could run this wall to wall for a 24-hour period. And that's where you got into the syndication route.
Right. And then, just get those repeat episodes.
That was the way to make money in television is like,
I think it still is.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that later, but we're 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah.
And in podcast land, we're really like 1/10 of the way to like, even a body of work. Like what JRE has like 1,700 episodes now.
Yeah. Joe Budden just had his 450.
Yeah.
That's less, but
Was he alone?
No, he has some new people up in there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm anxious to hear more about that. Thanks for coming over today. You're the first person I've seen. I've been in my own quarantine for the last 4 days on my deathbed. So
got that strep.
Yeah. Okay. So glad to be back. And hope the voice holds up over the course of the hour.
Yeah.
I'm ready?
Looking forward to it, man. Let's get it.
It's the weekly catch up with Carson and Brad. Here to talk about the week we done had. It could be sports, religion, politics, we keeping the tabs. You would think they work for Gucci, how they deep in they bag. Get your facts up. On Wednesday we'll be counting the stats up. So turn the volume up till it's maxed up. You know the drill. So tell a friend to relax up and chill. We back up. This is the weekly catch up.
Dude, get into this episode with me, please. We've just been sitting around snickering, like watching videos, music videos, all the new little baby, little Dirks coming out.
Wah, wah, wah. I'm Lil Baby.
We've just been procrastinating. We're so effective at just nailing the boilerplate, shipping it. We're looking at a little episode with little show notes with like 2 minutes of audio. We're like, now to do the episode. Such a chore on a Sunday. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Let's turn nothing to something.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what I've been trying to do with my whole life the last couple of days.
Is that right?
Just trying to get back to, dude, I discount how just amazing I feel all the time compared to when I'm sick.
Yeah, it'll humble you real quick.
Oh my goodness. I just felt like such a baby. I was telling my colleagues, I'm like, listen, my mom was, under the weather last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a roommate. This is ultra sad right now. Like, I'm just, men are such wimps at getting sick.
You need that chicken soup. You need that ginger ale. You had to do it yourself.
Oh, man. I had to go to the pharmacy by myself, and I'm like almost veering into people. I'm so loopy. I'm like, sorry. There's no cohabitant of my life or home, so I'm doing this myself.
I do gotta call you out. I saw you thirst trapping on IG.
Okay,
with your shirt off.
All right. Did you talk to Meredith?
No.
Okay, because she said the same thing. I'm so sick of this.
You're out here saying, "Oh, I'm sick."
Somebody take
care of me.
Okay.
Shirt off. I see them shoulders.
That was
I see them
Saturday.
collarbones. I see them collarbones just hanging out.
Yeah, you like those?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they trap rain and stuff,
Uh-huh. You just want the ladies to be able to sip wine out your collarbones.
Shut up. Anytime I turn the camera around, I'm thirst trapping. Anytime. I could post a selfie, I could post a thought, and people are like, you're thirst trapping. And you know what happens? Stuff gets viewed, saved, and DM'd out the butt. I'm telling you, like, when we post our videos of like just us talking or goofing off, whatever.
Thirst trapping.
Whatever. Like, how is this thirst trapping? So I'll tell you, I was thirst trapping for any attention because I had gotten sick on Wednesday night. Okay. I could not move all Thursday. Yeah. Like, I ordered food once. I had 2 bites of it, threw up later. Like, I was just beside myself. I had not yet gotten diagnosed. I thought, okay, I'm going to give it 24 hours. Take the normal stuff. Like, I have some sinus, cold flu, that kind of stuff. But I thought it might be some of these things. And I think it was like Thursday afternoon, I think I posted about it on IG, and I was definitely, I just had no one to care for me, Brad. Yeah. But the thing that
it was comedy though, like what you were saying, you had your bit about losing some weight and all that. I thought it was funny, so I'm just kind of pulling your leg. I
posted my symptoms on IG like Thursday night, which is not
I think
normal
I missed,
for me.
Yeah, maybe I missed that one.
Yeah, this has been maybe you're a more distant follower of mine on IG. Maybe you don't see my stories pop up first.
It's hit or miss. If it was on Thursday, then like I was working on master's classes.
No, I feel you. I was at home in bed. I took 3 baths. I was just dying, dude. I could not stop shivering. Yeah. I was so cold, and it was just, and then I would sweat in bed, and it was just, it was terrible. I was going through it. Yeah. And Friday morning, I woke up and I'm like, oh, I'm not better at all. And so I immediately made a telehealth appointment. And the funny thing was that I had gotten a lot of DMs off of my symptoms story from our friends in the medical community, like Brock, Perry, Leticia. I don't even remember all the people that hit me up and were like trying to diagnose me. And honestly, shout out to Perry, our friend Perry Edelman. She diagnosed me correctly, and then was like, if you need anything, like, I can go get scripts filled for you or bring you food. I was like, goodness, like, you're a nice friend. This is, her taking her work home with her, I guess, because she's a nurse, I think at Baylor or somewhere. But that was very much appreciated. A lot of people, I got a lot of sympathy off of that, if you will, like a lot of outreach, which was really heartwarming. But the medical guys on Instagram were really dead on. Brock was saying like rhino swine virus or something is like rampant right now, and the flu is definitely going off, and strep. And so I made this telehealth appointment, and the lady had me like turn my flashlight on my iPhone and then like point it down my throat and then like put my throat on the camera. And she was like, oh yeah, you got strep, son. And so she called in these these meds and whatnot. The frustrating part was the pharmacy just messed it all up, and so one of them got ready before the other one, and then there was the doctor filed the wrong compound.
What? So
they had to call the doctor. They could not contact the doctor immediately. And then once I called back and was on hold with Walgreens for 30 minutes in the bathtub, trying to inquire about the mouthwash, they give you like this throat numbing mouthwash agent. They finally got a hold of it, and they finally took me off hold, and they said, well, we're going to have to mix this up when you come in. Like, it's cold. It needs to be stored in a refrigerator, so you need to take it immediately home. It's like, all right, fine. So I get there, and then it still takes them like an hour. So I'm just like dying in this Walgreens, and got home, but I'm 5 amoxicillin deep, almost done with the throat stuff. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now.
You look good.
I felt the best that I'd felt up until that point, obviously Saturday morning. And I was honestly so thrilled because I woke up and I was like, ooh, I love all these shadows I'm seeing on my body. And I got on the scale, and then whatever. I was like, I'm going to make it a personal goal to share more of myself in a Dave Portnoy-esque manner. Like, just funny stuff, because it's who we are. It's an engaging thing. And I'll tell you, I don't have more authentic conversations on social media than when I'm just like being authentic.
Yeah.
And you know how I am at all times, not at work.
Yes, I know.
So I'm just a goober.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally thought about not posting that, and then I'm like, I posted it. First couple of comments from my family, from people thirst trapping, what you doing? You feel fine. We're not worried about you anymore. And then other top comments, got a bunch of people that reached out and said, man, send that strep my way. I need a reset too.
I could lose a good 5.
And girls love it when I don't do my hair, when I don't make it helmet head and all controlled.
They like that nappy boy.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do that in public, but
yeah. So I will say two
consistently
things.
get that.
I missed your first video, so I probably didn't recognize like how poorly you were feeling. So I apologize for that. Secondly, the video that I did see, it was funny, but as one of your best friends, it's my job to pull your leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Yeah. So I don't want to joke to the point where you don't post videos like that, because it was more funny than it was thirst trappy. But
and you know what though, it was thirst trappy, and I got to tell you, that thirst trap worked. Let me tell you what.
That's all I want to hear.
It was ridiculous. I'm like, that might have been the most successful thirst trap of all time, actually.
Catch Carson out here just pretending that he's sick more often. He's like, yeah, my voice. And
I don't get why the shirtless thing is a big deal. I just gotten up.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotten off the scale. Y'all think I'm weighing myself with a shirt?
Well, I think it's more like it was comedy style, but I don't typically see you do that like any other time. Like, I guess I haven't seen you do that with a shirt, you know?
You've only seen me do that without a shirt.
Yeah. But we don't need to like dissect it.
It was collarbone up. You could only see.
It was a tease.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Man, that's so funny.
Uh-huh.
The way that the story cut is, if you DM'd me off the first or the second one, I'm in a really kind of effeminate pose at the break.
Were you like arching your back?
No, I was like this. I was like, it's kind of like, even our friend Emily literally took a screenshot of her so there was 3 videos in that series. She had DM'd me off each of them. Then she made an awesome screenshot with squiggles pointing to, look at how gay you look in this one, because it was just kind of a funny post. The whole thing was unintentionally and intentionally comedic, whatever.
Yeah. I loved it, and I want to see more.
It helped me get through yet another day of solitude and not feeling 100.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're feeling well enough for me to come over and for us to be able to poke fun a bit. And I want to see more comedy videos from you.
I mean, yeah, it seems like we're
getting a day in the life, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was trying to make the best out of nothing, and I got so depressed being sick. Like, in some ways it was kind of nice to just we have a more expanded team now. On Thursday, I just declined every meeting invitation I didn't want to take. There was a demo with it was a big MRR value amount. Yeah. So I told our CRO, I was like, yeah, I could be in the hospital and I would give a demo that big. That one I want to move forward. So he was like, all right, respect, but get your rest. And so I did that demo. I just admitted right off the bat. I was like, by the way, I think I have strep. Forgive me if I'm loopy. And then we had a successful 70-minute demo with, the 2 points of contact at this company. And then I went and got a bath and died. Kind of, I literally put in like a meeting block from 1 to 6 sick. Same thing on Friday. After the all hands, I canceled our pipeline review and just took the necessary meetings. So I've been at home since Wednesday night. I was out at a wine bar when this started. Like, I told my friend, I was like, I gotta go. Like, something's descending upon me. I thought that I'd gotten too much sun at the pool earlier that afternoon. So not really sure.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, because on IG, I see you killing it on Appreciate, you're kind of showing some of your socials and stuff. And now if we sprinkle in some of those comedic videos, I'm like, the range, right? I'm like, this dude is well-rounded. He's got the business on lock, and he's a funny, personable dude. I like it.
Yeah, and I'm not sitting there scripting that, you know what I mean?
I know.
Like, I'm not.
It seemed authentic.
Writing show notes or anything for that.
Of course.
I think that you and I try to crack each other up. Like, a lot of our close friends are, comedians and hucksters.
We could have a series.
We've considered doing open mic.
This is true.
Like, we put together bits. Yeah. Like, what do you watch more than anything?
Yeah, comedy.
comedy, stand-up comedy, all the
Mhm.
podcasts that I watch, even on politics, are in the comedy genre. Like
Yeah.
everything is comedy now. They're some of the best. They're some of the best real journalists of our time in some ways in terms of commentary
Yes.
in a truthful way.
Yeah.
That reflects the views of like, hey, we're not trying to come across as bigoted or anything like
Mhm.
or exclusionary, but some of this stuff is crazy.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, not that we need to spend a whole nother segment on Bo Burnham again, but like his sock puppet bit,
Yeah.
it gets like real for a second, you know.
Yeah.
That, still comedy though.
Oh, his stuff is, I mean, goodness, he's dialed in for our generation.
Yeah.
And that's what's just so interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reflecting so much on the whole generational thing recently. I had a lot of sad sick time this week to think about things and watch some sports, watch some movies. Like
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of old Happy Madison movies,
Oh.
Deuce Bigelow,
Yeah.
Strange Wilderness.
Yeah, that
Yo.
one did not get a lot of shine, but
No,
I
no,
do
no,
remember
no.
that.
It probably was $1 million budget, but my best friend in high school, Jake Morrow, and I
Mhm.
literally could recite that entire movie to you.
Really?
And it was so fringe. We loved it. It was like Jonah Hill's first debut or something. Like it was way back
One
in
of
the
them.
day.
Did you ever see the movie Accepted?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in that one. I remember.
It's like the whole Justin Long,
Uh-huh.
Happy Madison crossover.
Yeah.
It's where Happy Madison and Judd Apatow cross over, and then Judd Apatow kind of goes out on his own later, it seems
Yeah.
like. But
I like
those
that.
Happy Madison ones, it's all bathroom humor and
Mhm.
like just like the staples, you know?
Of course. Yeah, man. I love Big Daddy and Billy Madison.
I think Mr. Deeds is just about the
Mr.
best.
Deeds. Oh my goodness.
Mr. Deeds is
Yeah. Classic.
incredible. But you
Classic.
forget how laugh out loud. Like I'm sitting there sick and I'm laughing out loud alone in my apartment. And that's just, there's an art to that still. And they won't be able to make that. Did I tell you that I did try the King of Staten Island?
You tried?
Did I tell you that?
No.
Okay, well I tried and I turned it off.
I watched it full, like all the way through. It was forgettable.
Yeah.
I'm just not the biggest Pete Davidson fan, to be honest.
No, like I don't
Like,
know. He's funny at roasts, but
yeah, I don't get it.
most of those SNL people kind of alone, I feel like they've gotten so corporatized sometimes that they're just like, it's just like hack humor.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I was looking through the previews last night and I saw like a Lorne Michaels movie and I was like, I'm not even going to do this one because it's just going to be dumb, you know?
Right.
None of those are very, very good.
Mhm.
I thought MacGruber was pretty funny.
Oh my goodness, bro.
MacGruber.
So funny story. That's the first rated R movie my brother ever went to, because I took him and I kind of snuck him in back whenever it came out in theaters. And me, Alec, Gerald, like we watched that. We used to watch it all the time. Like that's one of my all-time favorite comedy movies. Highly inappropriate, but amazing.
Yeah, well,
And it tanked in the box office, but it has like a cult following now. Like a lot of people love it. It's just one of those that didn't do well in the box office, but has done tremendous since.
yeah, I think that except for like James Cameron productions and like huge blockbuster movies, they're really just going for like all or nothing.
Mhm.
It's like if you're going for viewership and whatnot, just go ahead and send it to the streaming services.
Right.
If you're looking to make that box office, like you need to make $1 billion, like an F9, for instance, and you know that you can hold it down globally.
Yeah.
That's another thing. But
You gonna see F9?
you know what? I would like to actually.
Mhm.
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them continuing to do them.
I don't either.
Like, in some ways, I appreciate that. It's like the family that we need.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we need that consistent thread.
And I just need to see the ridiculousness amped up with each movie. Like I need to see how far they can take it.
I know, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, the suspension of disbelief has
Yeah.
to be employed at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, so Fast and Furious 9 came out on Friday. I might see it by the time we record again, just because I love. I don't know. Everything that they do is so ridiculous, but I love it.
There's something about that franchise where each of those people were all independently famous and wealthy prior to joining the cast. And then there's been 9 movies over what, 15, 20 years at this point?
Yeah, probably closer to 20.
This is going to parlay perfectly into some prepared notes I have for you.
Hey.
I want to.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just the fast, like, I just want to see Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris call each other like big forehead or fathead. Like,
The Fast and the Furious, 2001.
2000. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
20
man.
years.
Yeah.
So they literally have been here for a generation, to the extent that even with Paul Walker's death, it's like his entire likeness has been inherited by this franchise. And the way that they bring him back and, like, you know, bring him back in memories and different things, like, and the fact that he also died doing something so similar to the plot of the series. Yeah. There's just something about it for everybody, I feel like, of a certain age.
For sure. Another aspect
came out when we were 10, 11.
I know. Another aspect that I love, like, if you were to watch the first Fast and Furious and then go and catch Fast 9, you would be like, what happened? Because it would be so vastly different. You know, because in the first one, they're just racing for pink slips, you know, and kind of skirting the cops. But the next one, you know, Fast 9, they're out here flying almost like in a car.
They're like crashing
makeshift
tanks
car
through buildings,
rocket
like,
ship.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Their network has grown, and a lot of steroids as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's just like there's only a couple actors
The
that
Rock,
can even qualify
Diesel,
to be big
John
enough to
Cena.
be in the show.
Yeah.
But they also have isn't Helen Mirren
Yes.
in this one?
Yep. As the mom, right?
I don't remember, but
Maybe.
I mean, come on, we got to go see that.
Yeah.
We got the theater right across the street.
True. This is true.
That the generational impact of all of that, we're seeing so many of those remakes and different things like that. And I've been watching some documentaries over the last couple of days as well. All through the Trump presidency, I was looking forward to the documentaries that I knew would come out in the next 4 years, covering just all the hoopla, right? And so I watched this 6-part series on HBO.
Okay.
On QAnon. Are you familiar with QAnon?
I mean, a little, but you're about to school me.
Yeah, so I do actually want to talk about the Q stuff. Let's do that first, because I mainly want to talk about looking back over the last couple of years and realizing that some of the footage that's being shown to me in 2013, I'm like, oh, wow, that was 8 years ago now. I was actually pretty fresh out of college. Like, I'm trying to, like, place myself, and I'm noticing that everyone around 30, 31, you know, and up, they kind of have a different sense of time, you know, different, like, what month is it? Like, you kind of go blank sometimes. Like, and I realized that all growing up, like, you had such little data behind you. Like, it was easy to try to remember it all, or, like, you know, understand where everything was before you. You know, and now we're living in the present. And now that there's so much data behind you and me in our lives, I have a whole trivia game we're going to play based off of that on our childhoods and tying it back through to current events.
Okay.
QAnon.
What is QAnon?
QAnon, I guess I'll give you my spiel on it.
Okay.
QAnon, like, all I really knew was that the media had referred to it as the far right-wing conspiracy theory, which essentially showed Donald Trump battling, like, a global ring of like Democratic billionaire pedophiles, essentially. And you heard about Pizzagate at Comet Pizza, where they thought that, you know, John Podesta's emails linked, you know, cheese pizza to child pornography, and they,
depending on what toppings you got.
I watched a documentary on that. I watched the documentary on QAnon, and it was very frightening because QAnon is basically, there was a guy that started posting to, I think, 4chan and then 8chan as Q, just these like rambling, sentiments and code theories, and it just gained this like traction where it was like propping up all of 8chan's traffic and made it like a top 1,000 site in the world. And it was making its way through like the GOP. Like people were becoming radicalized that, Hillary and everybody was like, they were eating children and running pedophile rings. And like there was a cabal, like a global cabal that they had to take down and be vigilant against. And you started seeing like a lot of the Trump MAGA merch get mixed in with Q stuff. And where we go one, we go all. Like, even General Flynn was posting that to social media with his family, and just it became this like sick loop that gained a bunch of traction. And I honestly think that it accounts for the majority of the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. I think the majority of those people I think there were probably some people at the rally. I know that there were a lot of journalists there, and the more documentaries that come out, I'm like, there were a lot of people there that like saw what was going on. Like
they knew they needed the cameras on.
But the people, like the guy with the centaur, like the horns, dude, he's been in other documentaries. He's been at Q rallies and literally at GOP demonstrations for several years, like in that character. So he's
that. When you say in that character, like he's been wearing centaur type stuff for years?
Yes. Like he literally appeared at like a town hall on Q or something.
Did it give like that's just his thing? Did it give is it symbolic in some way, or they didn't touch on that?
No, not really. Okay. No, he's just a character in that.
Interesting.
In that situation. Let me see if I can. Okay, so it's Q on HBO. After Truth was really interesting. Documentary that was where we talk about the fake news and disinformation, and they touch on the Q stuff there. But yeah, it's really weird. So this documentary is very worth watching because this documentarian Colin is his name. He goes to the Philippines and meets the 8chan founder, who is like, it's a very strange physical malady that he has. He basically only has like a torso body with hands. And but was like the coder behind 8chan that built it, and then he sold it to this father-son team called the Watkins, Jim and Ron Watkins. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so if you're going to go watch this, the big thread throughout the series is, who is Q? They tracked down the IP address to like Steve Bannon's house at one point with the 8chan admin Code Monkey, Ron Watkins, who is now banned from Twitter and has been implicated in other things. It's a long, like everything is interconnected. It's really wild to see, and match it with like prosecution and legislation that's happened since. But the whole thread is like, who is Q? And they're talking to the 8chan people like, hey, can't you see like if you can take over and moderate a post or do whatever, like, is it you that's Q? Is it somebody else? Is it Steve Bannon, General Flynn? Is it Donald Trump? And so literally it just they kind of reveal who it is inadvertently. And it's a wild doc. He spends a lot of time with Ron Watkins, Code Monkey, in China and in Japan and in the Philippines. And the 8chan founder, he really wanted to shut the thing down once it was tied to all of these white supremacist shootings. People were live streaming, going into mosques or synagogues and like shooting people up. And people would be like, oh, this is a LARP, a live action role play. I didn't even realize that was like what that stood for. But and then 40 deaths later, they'd be like, oh, that wasn't a LARP. And all the message boards would be lit up with like white nationalist people going, amazing, literally these guys are doing it for likes. And because they're so radicalized by these boards and just all this stuff.
Wow.
So there's a big legal battle in the Philippines where he ends up, fleeing the country with the documentarian.
Whoa.
Like minutes before the indictment comes down, he was being charged with internet libel against
Mhm.
or slander against the Watkins, because he was like, the people that took it over from me, they have no regard for human life, like they're white nationalists themselves.
Yeah.
And he follows all of these people in close proximity and has all of their trust over a period of years and drops it in this 6-part series. It's wildly fascinating.
Yeah, I'm on that.
He follows it from the
I-
technical aspect, but also shows all the crap that happened, sociopolitically.
Got it. I'm gonna start watching that tonight.
It's I've been in my HBO subscription a lot more here recently, and
HBO is quality.
They're
HBO Max.
they have no, I'm not on HBO Max. I
Oh,
think it's just HBO.
Okay.
I also watched the Theranos one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That one was crazy. I know I'm a little late to the game on that one, but I'd never really dug deep on who Elizabeth Holmes was.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Same thing with The Perfect Weapon. Oh, I do have HBO Max. Never mind.
Okay.
The Perfect Weapon is really scary. It's a searing look inside the rise of cyber warfare as the primary way nations now compete with and sabotage one another.
I'm intrigued.
That-
You recommend that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That one is.
So cue Into the Storm.
You don't realize how at war we are right now, and
Mhm.
that war will never be fought likely with tanks and stuff again. It's going to be fought primarily, like, dude, to watch different groups be able to so effectively utilize social media, messaging boards, and the internet to literally divide and prejudice and radicalize people. It's insane.
Yeah. I agree. And like again, I know kind of last episode I was talking like, yeah, straying away from politics and everything. It's been nice. It's been light. But I mean, that was my biggest issue with what came with the Trump presidency. Like, not everybody, I definitely don't believe everybody that voted him is racist or anything like that. And they, just wanted what was best for business and corporation and, making them money and everything. But all of the shady things that happened, on the dark web or QAnon, like I feel like it was just incited by Trump's rhetoric. And so even if he, is not for any of that, just the way that he spoke, it just seemed to bring on these different types of groups. And that was my biggest issue with his presidency.
He was a genius. Like one of the show clips that they showed was when Savannah Guthrie was pressing him at a town hall, like, will you disavow QAnon? And he's like, well, I don't really know anything about them, but and she said, well, they're a group that thinks that, you're taking down a group of like, a global cabal of pedophiles. And he's like, well, I'm definitely not for pedophiles, Savannah. So,
Yeah.
And it was that kind of thing where he could say, well, the premise of it seems noble.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
But he wouldn't disavow it. And, even people in his office were like just getting real cozy with it because it was such a religion. Like,
Yeah.
it was such a crossover between politics and religion, and the way that the evangelicals have weaved in, the fact that Trump was like a Cyrus or like
Yeah.
a David, like an imperfect vessel that was going to enact the greater good.
Mhm.
Sometimes to do a little bit of bad to enact a greater good, or to use an imperfect person,
Yeah.
is just, especially when you think that you can get your sins confessed and forgiven at any time,
Mhm.
and we're all equal then. I mean, that's pretty crazy,
That is. Yeah.
in terms of like walking around.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, I forget where we were going with that, but
I don't know, but I'm locked in on that documentary for sure.
he enabled a lot of that, right? I think that there's
Right.
also things that like anybody at that level is
Capable.
privy to or doing.
Yeah.
Like I hate to be this guy, but there was one of these stories that I'm like, maybe this did happen because it kind of makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was some sort of story about how back in the Bin Laden, Hunt era,
Mm-hmm.
how their forces over in Pakistan or wherever had located him and were going to give him over to the U.S. officials, but instead of like negotiating that transfer, we like got the location and went to kill him instead, or like we got him and then we put him back somewhere and then we killed him over there, and like it sounded like we had multiple opportunities to capture him and we
Yeah.
chose a certain path,
Mm-hmm.
which would be a huge political win for the administration in power at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's true, but that would make sense and not even be something that I would necessarily frown at in some ways.
Right.
But when you think about, is it ever as crystal clear as they give it to us? Hey, we found Bin Laden in this
Never.
house and we shot him. Oh, great, Navy SEAL Team 6. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then later it's like, well, it stands to reason that you could have staged that in some ways.
Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I don't. You're not going to be innocent. Like if you're the president, I don't care what political party you're with. You're always going to have agendas, and I'm sure there's tons and tons of information that we're not privy to, and you always want your political party to be shown in the best light. Um, yeah, so I could definitely see how something like that could go down.
Well, I'm more than happy to veer away from the worlds of conspiracy and politics for the moment, if you are as well.
Sounds good, man.
What's been going on with you?
Aliens exist. Okay, now let's move on.
Oh, well, so what do you want to talk about there? We know that aliens exist.
I feel like all these UFO sightings, I'm like, if aliens were capable of building like these UFOs, and we have no idea what they are. Like, wouldn't they also be able to make them transparent and like hidden? Like, if they have the technology and they don't want to be seen, I feel like we wouldn't see them.
Well, I mean, maybe it's not pertinent that they're not seen.
Well, then why haven't they made contact?
Maybe they have no interest. Why haven't we gone and talked to the ants?
Okay,
you don't walk up to an anthill and you're like, hey, I want information from you.
But we also don't have the technology to communicate with them.
Maybe they don't have the technology to communicate with us. Maybe we're
Maybe.
not evolved to a certain extent where we can, accept communication.
But if
from
they were
them.
capable of building like the UFO and everything, they probably are somewhat similar to us, right? Like if they've been able to adapt and live, like I feel like they wouldn't 100% be human, but I feel like they would be more like us than we're like ants.
Oh, not guaranteed at all.
You don't think so?
No, it could be consciousness, like driving around a UFO. It could be us from the future or us evolved.
So that would be us. They would
Well,
be us.
when you look at the spectrum or the sequence, what am I saying? The timeline of technology and like the way that we are changing, where like, we used to all be an agrarian society and hunter gatherers, and like we were out and we were fit and we were. Look at the way that we've changed. Like we're getting softer. We're getting, bigger heads. Smaller muscles. More belly fat. Like we're morphing into almost what the proverbial aliens have been shown to be, which is kind of like, a big head, small bodied creature that is, geared mostly for brain activity, it seems like.
Did you see the scientists that announced a massive fossilized skull that they found?
A massive what?
Fossilized skull?
No.
So they're dating it back to 140,000 years ago. And the researchers have named this species, they've given it the nickname DragonMan.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me look it up real quick. So it says the skull belonged to a mature male who had a huge brain, massive brow ridges, deep set eyes, and a bulbous nose. It had remained hidden in a bend and well for 85 years. So I guess it had been found previously and then rediscovered. But they're calling it like a a new species. They're saying the team said that it's not the Neanderthals, but the Homo longi. It says the team said that the Homo longi was the extinct human species mostly closely related to our own. If confirmed, that would change how scientists envision the origin of Homo sapiens, which has been built up over the years from fossil discoveries and the analysis of DNA. So,
How would it change their interpretation of art?
I guess like the size of the skull and just the genetic setup of it.
Do I sound okay right now?
I think.
Okay, my entire mouth is numb. I just took more of that mouth numbing agent, and I can't feel anything.
I mean, your
so.
tongue's like hanging out. But.
Okay. Man. So where do you sit on all that?
Yeah, like cool. For me, like if you are you asking like because of my religious beliefs, or are you just asking?
Well,
like,
yeah, I did catch that you just threw down the 140,000 years ago comment, and so let's start there.
Okay. Like if this dates back to after the Garden of Eden, like I don't know. Like I'm no biblical theologious scholar. Like I don't have the all the answers, but if this, this could have been a being that lived even before Christ, and it could have been around 140,000 years ago. I mean, that's super simplified, but somebody could be like, no, the Garden of Eden wasn't 140,000 years ago, and then that would debunk my answer. But just off the top of my head, that's my original thought.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions that we have about how life operates maybe outside of this world and whatnot is the concept of time.
Mm-hmm.
And how time could be different. Time could be happening all at once. There's the future, there's the past, there's the present. I think that we have a very simplistic view of time, and it's only based on what we experience here. And when we're really being honest with ourselves, like, we've only gotten great documentation of what's been occurring for the last several hundred years.
Yeah.
There's even on the loosely documented side, what are we looking at? About 2,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
When we're talking in terms of 65 million years, 140,000 years, even if you're a creationist, biblical, evangelical Christian that thinks that the world is somewhere between maybe 10 and 12,000 years old, 2,000 years is a blip.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one of the things that I've started to employ that I think works, whether you're a Christian or not, is this world could have been used several times prior, is my theory. Like, I think that we could have had, maybe Jesus has come back to this world and saved us 3 times already,
You think?
new crops, we get hit by an asteroid, or there's a global ice age, and then we evolve from this, chimp or whatever is going on, this Homo sapien, whatever it is, and we start to command tools and we build technology. Like, this goes back to our Tower of Babel conversation, where I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense that just with rock and stone that God was actually threatened and needed to go break up their languages and all of that, to alter their plan to continue building the tower to heaven, essentially.
Yeah.
But what if they actually had Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk? What if they were at that point of, intelligent design and ingenuity and innovation in their world at that point? You know what I mean? Like, nothing ever said that we were the only ones.
That's fair. I don't have all the answers, but they're saying that this DragonMan, his brain is about 7% larger than the average brain of a living human.
What?
Yeah. They argue that DragonMan's combination of anatomical features are found in no previously named species, um, that they consider the lineage of bipedal apes that diverged from other African apes. Um, yeah,
Well,
interesting stuff.
they're even talking about certain chimp species right now that are gaining more of the use of tools, and they're seeing evolve in real time, like
Mhm.
over the last documented history, of caretakers and researchers, that we probably have a couple hundred years worth of data on that now.
Yeah.
And I think even in that time period, they've seen evolution, and it's like, is there another species that could rise up if we don't melt this planet or get it meteored?
Right.
I watched Greenland yesterday, so I'm like, I was like, that was really real. Did you watch that
Is that
one?
Tom
Gerard
Hanks?
Butler.
Oh, then no.
Yeah, the meteors, or the comet is going to shower meteors on the Earth. That's going to provide extinction level events, and they get presidential bunker access, and they try to make it to Greenland. It's a pretty good movie, actually.
Okay.
And I think it was crazy, because I think the sometimes the media foreshadows where we're going with things. Like,
Mhm.
they do these kinds of it just the breakdown of society and the immediate looting, and people trying to your morality changes.
Yeah.
Your fight or flight changes in those situations where all of a sudden, you've got 36 hours before everyone is dead unless you do certain things.
Hmm.
And even then, there's no guarantee.
I like it. Yeah. So I don't know. I think science will, like, if we just keep advancing, um, hopefully, and what I would like to see is that, it still connects with my religious beliefs. So I don't know much about this, and I should probably brush up on like biblical history and how exactly how long ago everything went down. But I always try to connect like those scientific discoveries with Christianity and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of merit in that.
Mhm.
I don't think that the two are necessarily
Yeah, like
exclusionary.
there are some religious people that just hate science, and it's like, why
Yeah.
can't you be a fan of both? Why can't you use science to help prove some of those theories?
Well, I refuse to think that they always talk about how intelligently created and designed we are. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why wouldn't we thrive and like expand and like
Hmm.
use our minds, and, expand the knowledge base of our society and
Yeah.
open source tools? And what is some people just want to live in a small town, and this
Hmm.
world is not our home, and just die,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that's my take on it. I'm probably mistaken a good portion of the time, but I think that living your life as though that there's an afterlife immediately following, at least as far as um, makes it a lot more worth living.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't. Well, I don't want to get into all of my
Sure.
beliefs on this show, I guess, but um, I'm often struck. I'm often more convicted that there's got to be some sort of it's totally plausible to me that our consciousness could go inhabit another form
Hmm.
with a intelligent creator at a later date, because of meditation.
Yeah.
Like, meditation convicts me more of that in many ways, like,
Nice.
because I really realize that everything is just a part of my consciousness,
Hmm.
like, um have you still been doing waking up?
I haven't in a while.
Man, some weeks it just goes really well, and other weeks it just doesn't. But
Hmm.
I think that there are clear upticks in comprehension for me as a result of meditation. And uh, I don't know, I find it very powerful, but sometimes it further convicts me of the whole biblical narrative, or, some sort of higher power. And then other times it might talk me more out of it. I don't
Sure.
know.
That's interesting.
I don't know. It is difficult whenever, it's like, how are some Christians going to take advantage of all the science of like what goes into your shampoo and your toothpaste and your consumer packaged goods,
Right.
and, the weather forecast and your vehicles and everything that you do. But then if it conflicts with a world that's longer, older than 10,000 years old, or predicates that we didn't, there weren't just a bunch of white people after the Garden of
Mhm.
Eden or something,
Yeah.
like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like imagine, I don't know, and if you talk with some people, they would be like, God would never allow that to happen. But I'm like, what if some of like the calendar stuff was like human error, Like what if they forgot a zero or I don't know.
Listen, I think the majority of this biblical documentation, I think that there was probably some puffery involved.
Mhm.
Okay. A bunch of the biblical narrative characters had big egos, and obviously they're following the big shots at the time, not,
Yeah.
Joe Blow on the street,
Mhm.
Um, so where was I going with that?
Yeah.
I think that they were good faith actors that tried to pull together and translate all of this stuff into a concise narrative that is not concise, in
Mhm.
in some ways. Um, I I guess many theologians would say, "Oh, yes, it is. It's like a history of
Yeah.
Judaism to Christianity."
Yeah.
And
And then you can go to the book of Numbers and it, references all the generations and everything. So I recognize that, but I haven't
all the
done
begats.
yeah. So and so begat so and so. But I haven't done enough research on that. So I'm just kind of spitballing here. I think it's an interesting topic.
Well, and even if you do go with the biblical, like, not everything was kosher, dude. Like, brothers and sisters were hooking up based on the biblical narrative
Mm-hmm.
to procreate and create the earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Get off your high horse.
yeah, okay. Don't. That's Brad's quote, not mine. Oh, okay. Well, speaking of time and timelines, I'm trying to think about what triggered this little exercise in my mind, but I did spend a little bit of time in a Google spreadsheet this morning getting
Okay.
ready for you. Um, I was watching, I think it was Facebook videos
Mm-hmm.
the other day, and Derek Jeter's walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th in New York, Game 4 World Series, from like 2004 came up.
Okay.
And I watched it and I realized it was one of those games that like I watched as a kid. I was probably 14 at the
Mm-hmm.
time about. And it was one of those iconic walk-off home runs that forced another game, blah blah blah. Actually no, they were split or something, but um and I realized the several baseball games that I've watched here recently, I really recognized I don't know any of this generation of players. And like, I think of like Beltray or A-Rod or
Mm-hmm.
whoever was iconic is like, well, they just retired. They're a couple years out. And then I realized, well, no, like there's an entire new generation of people, and all the people that I'm referencing, time has lapsed. Like they're
Yeah.
legends at this point. And it was so interesting because I thought of things back then as Derek Jeter just hit that home run.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really thinking I'm 14. It's 2004. I
Yeah.
didn't have a time marker, so I'm always trying to go back and contextualize. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, where was I? What was I doing? And so I got to thinking, wouldn't it be interesting to kind of just document the big things that happened each year of my life?
Sure.
And I didn't get to all of them, but I did see some direct correlations between what was happening just right around the time that you and I would start having recollection
Uh-huh.
and memory capacity, and tying it back to today,
Okay.
and essentially how it's interesting.
Yeah. That sounds interesting. I like that.
Okay.
So are you going to share some of that or?
Yeah, let's do it. What was I think? So what you were born in 92?
91.
91. July of 91.
July 6th, 1991.
So what's your first memory of like a sporting event or big game that you watched or something?
Okay, so I remember, this is kind of crazy. On Cartoon Network, they had like Super Bowl ads, and I don't even remember which Super Bowl this was, but man, I had to have been like 4 or 5. And I remember to set it up, they had like Bugs Bunny versus Daffy Duck, and then they were a part of whichever Super Bowl teams were on at the time. So that was football. That was kind of like maybe my introduction to football. And then obviously huge for me was Space Jam for basketball.
Was that Super Bowl hyping Space Jam or the Looney Tunes like crossover with that?
No. So Space Jam in and of itself, like, because I was just I was allowed to watch like Bugs Bunny, so my dad would buy me like a bunch of those types of movies. So that's I don't think I watched much basketball until like I saw Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan. I don't in my head I don't know if I knew who Michael Jordan was until I watched Space Jam.
Yeah.
I don't know that to be true, but if I'm trying to remember now, like that's the first memory I have of Michael Jordan.
That's pretty crazy. I don't know if I could trace back first impressions or memories of most of these things, but it makes perfect sense because one of the columns here in my spreadsheet is year and movie, and 1996, the number one and number two movies were Independence Day and Space Jam.
Really?
So you being born in 91, thinking that you're 5, Space Jam being the biggest movie of 96 makes perfect sense.
Dang. Okay.
But that's crazy because now in 2021, there's a new Space Jam.
Yeah. It's coming out this or next in July.
And we always thought about Space Jam as just like present. And then like, oh yeah, like remember back when? And now it's like, oh, that was how many years ago?
Right.
If you were born in 96, you're drinking. You're serving in the military. Dude, you're 25 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 25.
Wow.
You can rent a car.
Awesome.
You have no memory of that.
Right. No.
Like that's something that you heard about from you didn't even hear about it from the older kids because you don't remember anything until you're 6.
Right.
And so, they don't remember anything until 2002.
Right. Dang.
They don't remember 9/11. They were too young.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the kind of weird mind bender that this can be. This was also partially inspired by the ongoing Free Britney saga and realizing that her first hit, Hit Me Baby One More Time, 1999.
I have her album on cassette along with NSYNC and the Tarzan soundtrack.
Oh, Tarzan soundtrack was my very first CD purchase ever.
Really?
Yes.
So I had that on cassette. The first CD that I ever picked out for myself, Smash Mouth, Astro Lounge.
Okay. Yeah. Hey now.
Like the before Shrek.
Did you listen to Radio Disney? Like,
of course. I went to a Radio Disney concert.
Yeah.
My first concert was the A-Teens and Aaron Carter, baby.
Oh, snap. Is that the My House guy or whatever? Like
Aaron's Party.
Yeah.
And that's how I beat Shaq.
Oh my goodness. I was like, these guys. I mean,
yeah.
I think that with my older friends and older affiliations, sometimes people are like, what, you're not super into the Beatles or whatever? And I'm like, I was just born at this weird time where like, why is it that I really like pop and rap music? And then you just look at what was fed to us at our age of, consciousness, and then our palette of palette forming formative years of like 13 on.
I'm 5 years old listening to Come On and Jam and welcome to and everybody get up, it's time to jam now.
Oh yeah, I loved all those songs. Like in 1992, Rhythm, you can feel it, Rhythm.
Yeah.
Rhythm is I love all those songs from the roller skating rink in the 90s.
Yeah. My goodness.
That's why I just needed to trace this back because I'm like, was this all just like an eclectic mix or? Yeah. No, it was pretty down the middle.
It was all a dream. Used to read Word Up magazine.
That was like before our age of consciousness,
Yeah, we were just immersed. Like
we never experienced that.
Yeah. Wow, I like that.
So Super Bowl we'll just go to 1996.
Okay.
You were saying that they were hyping it up with Looney Tunes and whatnot. Do you happen to remember the teams that were going to be playing?
I wish I did. Did the Dolphins ever go to the Super Bowl? Giants?
I mean, the Dolphins and the Giants have been to the Super Bowl, yes. Like historically.
Okay, but it was neither of them?
Well, We won. Dallas won. Larry
Oh, I
Brown was
probably
the
should know
MVP. I don't know who we beat,
I should have known that. Yeah.
but didn't know if I don't have any memory of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was compiling like all the Super Bowls since
Yeah.
89 to
Were the
98.
Did you only put who won?
I did.
Okay, because I'm wondering still if the. Well, I'm gonna look.
I
it
did
up.
in the MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
So 1989, no memory, but the 49ers won with Jerry Rice. 1990, 49ers won again. MVP was Joe Montana.
Mm.
In 91, the Giants won, and Otis Anderson was their MVP. 92, Washington Football Club team won. Mark Ripien.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see in 93, Dallas, Troy Aikman. 94, Dallas, Emmitt Smith. 95, 49ers, Steve Young. And then 96, Dallas, Larry Brown. So it makes sense that just as we were coming around to an age of consciousness, that we had rabid parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles who were living in a dynasty age,
Yeah.
The golden age, where we were cemented as America's sweetheart team. We had the riskiest cheerleaders. We had the $1 billion value cap. We, went out and got the murderers and made all the press, and Deion Sanders and Troy Aikman, what do we call it? The triplets,
Mm-hmm.
we were dynamic. And so it's interesting to see the thought persuasion and the molding of young minds. Like there's a rabid multi-generational coalition of Dallas Cowboys fans globally.
I'm also just now recognizing I had a NBA like Jam Sega Genesis video game. That had to have been one of my early memories of basketball too. But yeah, that's crazy. And I think out of this context, the Cowboys won 96, but I don't know why the Dolphins are sticking, because I just looked it up. They won theirs like in the 70s. So I don't know why that sticks out to me, but that's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What was one of the first movies that you ever went to go see in the theater?
I think I saw the Power Rangers movie in the theater.
Okay.
Oh, dude. I mean, like I saw the Disney movies like Lion King, a Goofy movie, Aladdin.
But those were on VHS.
No, like Lion King came out like what, in 94? Let's look it up. I know I saw Toy Story in the theater.
1994.
Yeah, see?
Okay, I should have just gone back to that year of coverage. It's funny, movies are one of the first things that you can definitively remember your attendance at.
Yeah.
Even more so than sports or pop culture or anything. So 94, Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
95, top movie of the year was Toy Story.
Yeah, see?
So,
I named both of those.
I clearly remember seeing, I think, both or at least Toy Story.
Dude, I can even go back and tell you what happened during Toy Story. There was a storm and it cut off the electricity while we were in there. I was scared as all get out. There was a crazy hailstorm. I remember it was either my like papa's or my uncle's car got damaged from the hail. And that was all the day that we went and saw Toy Story.
It's fascinating. They've made what, 3 or 4 since?
4. And man, if you have not seen Toy Story 3 and 4 and like you like the Pixar movie, like I still love those movies.
Love
even
Pixar.
though I'm older.
Yeah.
And dude, Toy Story 3 that came out my freshman year of college, and Toy Story 3 is about Andy going to college.
Oh, I did see that one.
Yeah, man.
That one was sad.
That's a tearjerker.
Yeah, I don't like it when they do that to me.
I loved it.
I haven't seen 4, I'm pretty sure, but
it was really good.
I think that the big narrative surrounding 4 is that kids that saw their first movie, Toy Story, in 1994 were taking their kids to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, what is it about our generation that they prolong some of these franchises for us?
Yeah.
Like,
well, we feed off of nostalgia for sure. I don't know what that's about, but
I think it's just because it's always a series of firsts. Like we didn't have media in the format that we've had it, or people that globally consumed the same content from these huge production companies.
Yeah.
And now we do. And this is part of the manifestation and capitalization of our affection for these franchises like Fast and Furious or Toy Story or even Space Jam. Like everything is coming back. Space Jam is, 25 years on.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of LeBron haters out there. You got to recognize that he's great. You don't have to say that he's better than Michael Jordan, but he's an incredible player, one of the best we've ever seen. And even if you don't watch it for that, the songs that they have been putting out for Space Jam 2, like this album is at least going to be crazy. I've loved the songs that have dropped from it so far.
To those that I don't get why you spend so much time comparing MJ to Kobe, MJ to LeBron James or Steph Curry or whoever. Like, who cares? Like,
Can't you just like?
I'd love to be.
Can't
honest.
you just appreciate what's going on?
Exactly, and accept the fact that none of them are the same.
Yeah.
No two people are alike, and no two styles of game are identical.
Mm-hmm.
And can we not just be man enough to just say, hey, given a shot to have a 1-on-1 or a 3-on-3, each of them in their equivalent prime or commiserate prime, we don't know who would win.
Right.
And it would probably vary by the day.
Yeah.
They'd probably both win.
Yeah. Because people's argument, oh, the game has changed. Like, doesn't matter. We were able to see Michael Jordan play, and now we get to see LeBron and Luka and Trae Young. Like, man, Trae Young has been an awesome villain this playoff series. Just doing the shimmy.
I know nothing about any of this.
He's been like quieting the crowd in away games, and but one of these last games, he got the ball lined up at the 3, did a shimmy, and then shot it and made it. And after the game, they're like, "So, what prompted you to do the shimmy before the shot?" And he's like, "I had enough time." I was like, I love that, man. Like, this is the villain we've needed. It's been awesome to watch.
What's been going on with the Mavs? Because I saw that Jason Kidd's our new head coach, and what happened between Carlisle and Luka? There was some bad blood there. Or
apparently, I don't know exactly what went down, but apparently, Luka was not a fan. He was a fan of the GM, which they also let go.
Donnie Nelson.
Yeah.
Longtime GM.
And then they got like the head of some Nike.
Yes, the Nike executive.
Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. I am a little worried about Jason Kidd because I feel like everywhere he's gone, it has not ended well.
As a coach?
Uh-huh.
How long has he been coaching?
Loved him as a player. A handful of years. Not.
I do like that he was on the team that brought home,
a
trophy to Dallas.
I agree.
Isn't Dirk now a consultant or something?
Yeah.
What is that?
I think that was more like PR because we were letting some of these people go. And it's like, hey, but look, we brought on Dirk and he's going to help us figure this thing out. Like, that's how I view it, is more of like trying to ease tensions. It's like, here's somebody that we all love helping out, pick the next person.
Probably. And they're probably trying to if he's going to stick around at least part-time throughout the season, he's such, Nowitzki way, there's so much branding around him.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at, if you were a legendary player like a Kidd or a Nowitzki on a championship team, having you affiliated, having you in a leadership role is not the worst thing to try to start out with.
Yeah. A couple years ago, we had a chance to potentially woo Steve Nash as a coach. And he played on the Mavs for a little bit.
Is he the Brooklyn Nets coach?
I believe so. But I would have rather have had him than Kidd. But
boy, speaking of coaches, all of the legendary players that we grew up on are now coaches.
Isn't that crazy?
Man.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what I'm not going to be super pessimistic about it. And we'll just see.
I think another thing that really sparked this whole backtracking was I woke up to a text from Michael, and it was just a link to Stereo Love on Spotify, and I just started playing it, and I was like, when they gonna stop breaking my...
Awesome.
And it elicits so many memories because it was just the hype when I was 20, and the night that I turned 21, we all danced to that song. And I looked it up, 2009.
Wow.
And I'm like, that was 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
It's wild that, and it's also wild to me how I think that I'm at the age of reckoning where I'm like, oh, this is why your parents start getting out of touch with the reality, because it's like I got so much information,
Yeah.
like so much absorption and I'm focused on these very singular tasks or driving towards these things like work or career or my family. Like, there's no way that you could just continue to ingest all of that as though
Right.
you were an eager, thoughtful child.
And there's more access to all those things.
There's more
than
of it.
ever.
Yeah.
So we never stood a chance.
No. But
I stay in tune a little bit just because I hear what my students are talking about. But even then, I'm like, who is that? And I don't go look it up later.
I wonder if kids that grew up with internet connected devices from a very early age are more okay with like letting FOMO go. Like, if you were a kid that grew up and you watched every movie in the theater, you know, and you watched like the big network TV shows, you were on it. That's all you could do.
Right.
Maybe play video games, go to school, do whatever. You were on it. That's the furthest you could be in pop culture. And now it's like with the internet, it's totally different.
Yeah, I think it might have shifted a little, but there's like the same or more than ever the feeling of missing out for them. They always want to make sure they do or have whatever their peers have or have done. It's crazy.
I wanted to pay off your esports conversation the other day with your principal about how it was like a legitimate thing and should be recognized and at least capitalized on from a teaching and competition and scholarship perspective. You know how we had that long-winded conversation about John Rahm the other day, getting disqualified automatically from the Memorial Tournament after testing positive for COVID-19,
right? And
that whole debacle. Remember how I said his warm-up time at the U.S. Open is going to be compromised as a result of all of this? It wasn't.
No.
Old boy went out, won the U.S. Open,
hey.
Won it on a Sunday, birdied the last 2 holes, did it on Father's Day, on his first Father's Day. His father was there. It was a storybook ending to that whole drama. Awesome. And when asked about, this is your first event back from the memorial where you were sure to lock that one up. You know, what is your feeling on that? He said, I didn't even think about it once. I didn't even think negatively about it once. I have no remorse or anxiety over that. I knew that good things are going to come. If I'm playing this good and this happens, like, good things are going to come. And I just let it unfold. I just let it happen. And I kept positive. And right now, this is such a beautiful experience with my son, my wife. Like, I won my first PGA Tour event here. I proposed to my wife here. You know, it was such a storybook major finish. It was just insane.
That's an incredible mentality to have too.
It was an incredible mentality. It was beyond inspirational. I tweeted about it. I ended up finishing this up on like a Monday morning before work on delay, and somehow got to see it come down to the wire. It was a really great US Open.
Yeah.
And in the post interview series where they go on the logo backdrop and take all the media's questions, one of the questions was, so John, what did you do this morning? Like, what was your mindset? And he's like, he was kind of sheepish and said, can I be honest with you? He was like, I was kind of excited that I was teeing off at like 2:05 because there was a live Twitch coverage of a big esports Call of Duty tournament that I'd been dying to watch.
I watched some of it.
And he was like, it was 90 minutes. It was perfectly timed. So I was really hyped that I got to watch that before I went out and won the US Open.
Wow.
And it was like, whoa.
That's incredible.
I immediately thought about you, and I was like, this is so pressing that the number 1 golfer in the world, the morning of the US Open, is so pumped that he just gets to watch this live coverage.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of fan base that it delivers. And the fact that he's plugging that, like, it just immediately tied in with what you were saying, that this is an emerging thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for bringing that up. And I'm still going to try to keep pushing that. There's a lot of things that I'm really trying to work on this coming year. I've even dropped some more ideas with our principal, but we'll see if they pan out. But that's really cool to hear about the esports.
All right. Well, I feel like that we didn't go over every cell in my spreadsheet, but I'm satisfied with that. I am looking up. Okay, you want to guess when Mulan dropped?
Sure. let's see. I'm gonna say 90. I'm gonna say 98.
You're correct.
I am?
Yep.
Let's go.
Great job.
Thank you.
That's pretty crazy. When was Cinderella?
Oh, maybe like 92.
Okay, it's weird. Like, it's 1950.
It's really that old? I know Snow White is super old. I didn't think Cinderella was.
Cinderella is 1950.
Dang,
Oh my goodness.
that's wild.
What happened between 50 and like 1994 where they just started like making animated films
Yeah.
again?
Yeah,
Pinocchio
'cause
was like 1921 or something, right?
Snow White is 1937. I knew that one was old.
Pinocchio.
Um,
1940.
dang.
I'm positive we've done this little like, trek down memory lane in terms of these animated movies on a show like 50 episodes ago now.
You think so?
Yeah, I still can't believe it's 75. That's like,
Yeah.
what is the anniversary stone that you get? I remember doing this on
Oh,
25
yeah.
and like 50.
Let's see.
We never knew.
Yeah.
What year of our marriage is it, Brad?
Anniversary stone.
75. If you make it to
For-
75, you had to have gotten married at 20 and lived to 95.
Yeah, dude, that's insane. Sapphire.
Sapphire. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Getting upgraded.
Mm-hmm. Let me
So-
upgrade you.
We should go to at least 100 to get syndication.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I agree with that.
Mhm.
You got anything else going on? I feel like I'm...
Man, our house is coming along.
Yeah? Even more so
Yeah.
than last time?
Yeah, dude. Like all the shingles are up. They've started.
Shingles?
Yeah, bro.
Do you have an updated photo?
Yeah.
I only saw wood the last time.
Yeah, this is insane. So,
Dude, Dave came out and I haven't watched it at all.
I haven't either.
Oh my goodness, you have a home.
Yeah, man.
They're just making steady progress on this. This is
Yeah.
insane. Oh my goodness. Nice,
Yeah.
dude.
And so this was what's today? Sunday? This was on Wednesday. So I'm sure they've put even more stuff up since then.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So home's coming along nicely. Super excited about that.
Heck yeah.
Um,
That's amazing. When are you going to be moving in?
it's the day it's done.
Like, but when is that?
So
you think?
they won't
At this
give
pace,
us,
like August?
They'll give us like a 2-week window when they think it'll be complete, but they said because there's like a shortage like around the world for supply, like just their supplies, and everything has gotten so much more expensive. So we're very blessed to have already been locked into our contract price, because I guarantee other houses in our neighborhood, like the prices have spiked like insane since we first signed our contract. But yeah, they said, it should take about 6 months ish, but they said that before, the consecutive weeks of rain where they weren't able to work on our home. And so they just said, yeah, we're going to give you a 2-week window whenever we'll be kind of finishing it up. So I'm thinking October, November.
Okay. You be in the home for Christmas.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Uh-huh.
That's really fun.
Yeah. Super, super excited about
Man, the market is just like crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently these firms, like, have you heard this, like BlackRock and these different PE firms are just buying all of America's homes?
Yeah, I invested in BlackRock for a little bit.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
I made a little bit of cash on it.
Man, I thought I was going to make my money back on Clove this past week. It got up to 15.14 or something.
Uh-huh.
I think my position was about 15.82 for my shares. So I had to hold on to it for a whole another week, and we'll see what happens this week. But
Bro.
it does seem like there's been some heat generating around there.
I hope so. Crypto has been bugging. Like,
What's been happening?
tanking, man. Like I am.
It had a big spike there for
I
a
am
minute.
officially in the red.
All time?
With Ethereum.
Oh,
no,
okay.
not all time, but I am in the red. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that goes back up.
Like you have more principal into Ethereum than it's currently worth?
Yes.
Oh.
Mhm.
So all time on Ethereum, you are down.
On Ethereum, yes. But
Okay.
still, I've made enough money with Doge and AMC, AMC multiple times that my all time I'm in the green. But if Ethereum keeps dropping, we'll see.
Based on all the novice research that I've done this year, I would say that putting some money into Bitcoin sparingly as you see fit seems to make sense at the moment, and to be the commonly agreed one that, okay, there's substance behind this. There's a quantifiable amount of it available in the world, which is even crazier than gold. And so blah, blah, blah. Ethereum seemed to be the next best choice that also was contingent on some sort of blockchain technology and some real technology behind it that also supported Bitcoin, I believe you had said. All these others are just like altcoins that you have to view as like a meme stock that if you buy it, it's like maybe if memes get made, it can pump and dump, spike the price, drop the stock, or drop the crypto. It's not something. I don't have anything but the $5 that Coinbase gave me for initially signing up. I have not purchased anymore through Coinbase. I have not re-upped on Robinhood. I still have 100% of my buying power in Clove. I have 408 shares of Clove.
Nice.
And I have my little sheet where, it's gone to $25 or $28 this year. If it does that again and I am able to sell at that amount, it'll be I will have done really well with my initial principal into Robinhood this year.
Yeah. Awesome.
Like I would have almost tripled my money at that point.
Dang.
No, actually, if it goes to those prices, I would have definitely done that.
Yeah. So here's hoping, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I have faith that it's going to come back. I actually got a tweet from a guy that's been covering it recently, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm buying back in whenever it went back to 11 or 10 or something." I was like just hemorrhaging. He was like, "No, have faith." Like he said that he'd made a lot of money off of it in the last run, and pointed me to like a community where I was like, "Oh, okay," and it was getting more of the 100 out of 100 short squeeze. A lot of Wall Street Bets mentions. Like I look at their mentions. Like, do you look at the graph of?
I used to.
How many times a stock is mentioned in posts over a day?
I used to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You've been more.
I've been chilling.
Passive recently.
Yeah.
Hey, your arm looks good.
Thanks, man. Courtney's gonna take out those stitches on the 30th.
Somebody asked me how it looked, and I was like, I don't know. He was bandaged.
Yeah, it was wrapped up, but yeah, looking good. The swelling has gone down. The bruising is no longer there.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I definitely gotcha.
Yep.
Does it itch yet?
No. I put like some. I clean it and put ointment on it and stuff. So.
Word. For your wounds, Brad.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad that that's out.
I'm
looking forward to your. Will we record again before your B-Day? Probably not before the actual day, right?
I don't know. We might.
The 6th is a week from Tuesday.
Yeah.
A week from Tuesday, and we're going.
I don't see why we wouldn't record before then.
We're going and floating the river that next weekend.
Yes, sir.
Man, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's
gonna be a lot of fun.
Dirty
I haven't
30.
done that in years.
Yeah, same. I'm like, maybe I need to start hanging out outside before we go, so I'm not just like brutally sunburned. Like I need to work up a little bit of a tan before we go.
For sure. Yeah. I've been steadily working on it throughout the season.
Yeah, you're looking all right.
Feeling decent with where I'm at, but again, just trying to get back to 100, man.
I like it.
I'm gonna take some more amoxicillin and get this thing all nipped in the bud. I'm just glad that I rarely ever take off work for being sick, but I was just beside myself.
Yeah.
Fever, chatters, chills, and just liaised that to the team and showed up to the meetings that made the most sense, and then excused myself when I could.
Yeah.
But Monday it'll be time to hit the ground running again.
There you go.
Be back to 100.
I like that.
Although it's a 10-day regimen of the antibiotics.
Oh, really?
Have you had strep?
A long time ago.
I feel like I probably had it once. Earlier in adulthood, maybe, and I don't quite remember when.
Yeah. I'm glad you're doing all right.
Yeah, it was interesting. I I was like, I need to see a doctor immediately. And then I was like, telehealth. I'll just see if I can like video chat one.
Yeah.
And so I just logged into like my coverage portal, and it was embarrassing. It was like, because of course I don't have a primary care. I need to get all that set up. I have been anti-doctor for the last 8 years or whatever. So they were like, when was your last medical visit? And I'm like, or doctor appointment. I was like, I just guessed. I was like, May 5 of 2012.
Like I had to get a physical for basketball in high school.
Yeah, like it was literally like the last time my mom took me, like, which was probably 18. Who knows? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just lied and or just made up a date, and then they just said, okay, they made me clarify any medications I was on. It's gonna be a $49 copay. Then they put me into a queue, and I got an email like, hey, we're already standing by. And I logged in, and they'd already made me do a camera and microphone check. Yeah. And I saw a doctor immediately. I literally saw that I had a 9:15. I asked for the appointment at 9:12. She was available at 9:15. So I just emailed my meeting. I'll be 5 minutes late. And I was diagnosed, prescribed, checked on, bedside mannered, out the door in 5 minutes. Like literally, she was like, your prescriptions will be ready in 30 minutes at, the pharmacy a mile from your house that you just requested. Yeah. That didn't end up being the case, but whatever. Had it gone according to plan, it would have been flawless. And I was kind of driving over to the pharmacy with high hopes to go home with these 2 prescriptions in a concise manner. Yeah. And I was thinking, you know what? Capitalist healthcare for the win. Like, this is innovation. I'm being cared for. And then a couple minutes into Walgreens, and I'm like, where's Bernie?
It's like, you can Uber your food. You can Zoom with your doctor. Like, we were born in the right time period.
Yeah, it's crazy though. Yeah. It's very isolating. It would have been a more fun sick period if you'd been like, I guess, in a couple or somebody you could watch a movie with or something.
Right.
Because I think that like emotionally you're down when you're sick a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I get you. But if you ever need somebody if you're sick, like
need that big bear,
hit a brother up.
Need that big bear. Nah, I didn't want to expose you or anything. That's the other thing. Like,
I get it.
I guess I was contagious the first couple of days. I guess we'll find out if I'm contagious today.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
Thanks, buddy.
Catch me on Instagram without a shirt.
Dude, I had guys DM me. Literally, my buddy David's like, send that strep my way. I could use a reset, son. And girls were DMing me like, not fair. I could use that.
That's great.
So man, it was not thirst trapping.
Imagine you thirst trapping at 100%. See what kind of DMs you get then.
Oh, son. Yeah. Man, every time. Do you remember that story that I did where I told?
Hold on. Carson will be posting like himself at the pool with his thighs out, like just his you'll have your legs in the picture. I'm like, yeah, you got it, dude. You must be getting some DMs off of this.
Whatever. You know what girls always DM you back when you do that? They're like, thighs. That's like the universal DM back.
Hard eyes. Okay, sorry. Do I remember
hard eyes or just like the eyes?
Yeah. You were saying, do I remember something? I'm sorry if it escaped your thoughts.
Oh, it totally has.
That's my bad.
Do you remember
21st night?
Bro, what was it?
I don't know.
What were we talking about?
Just you thirst trapping.
Oh, do you remember the story that I did? Thank you. That worked. Where I'd gone to Chipotle and I gave the bum my change, and when it wasn't enough, he threw it at me.
No?
Yes. It was I did again, I just front faced my camera and talked to the camera. So apparently I was thirst trapping. I'm not allowed to take selfies or talk to the camera without it being a thirst trap.
I think I think this should be a compliment, because it's like, oh, well, Carson's looking good. He's, must be taking advantage. But if people are calling you out consistently, that must mean you're kind of always looking good.
I'm definitely not, but
well, trying to spin it. But...
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I mean, I don't often do these because it is kind of, I think about it and I'm like, none of my friends really do these that are, I definitely have friends that do them, and we all appreciate them because they can be very funny and relevant, right?
Yeah.
I just have very sparingly done them, but that was the other one that I had blown up type deal where people hit me offline, online, like and most of it is just there's no like sexual connotation in any
Sure.
of this. Like this is mainly like for jokes and
Yeah.
whatnot. Oh, that was funny or whatever.
Mhm.
But I just want to shirk this thirst trap mantra that you and John Seals, anytime he's ever creeping on Snapchat or Instagram story, and I'm like, you're on here? He's like, thirst trap. I'm like, whatever. Get out of here.
You know, it's our job just to mess with you.
All right. Well, stay tuned.
Stay tuned, baby.
You ready to get and go?
Yeah, just a couple things as far as music. Check out JP Saxe's new album, singer-songwriter. He's dating Julia Michaels. They had that song "If the World Was Ending." Anyway, love. Actually, I don't just want to breeze by this. I would like to read some of his lyrics. So JP Saxe, he's been one of my favorite singer-songwriters for a couple years now. But his debut album just came out, or maybe not debut album, but his album. And the final song on his album is called "Sing Myself to Sleep." And he lost his mom in 2020, and this is the first album that he's put out since then. And so I want to read the lyrics, if that's cool, because it really resonated with me. So
yeah, man, I wasn't meaning to rush us out here.
no, yeah,
Take
yeah,
all
I
the
know.
time you need.
And I was ready to go too, but then I forgot that I did want to talk about this. So the song goes, "I'm okay, but that's not the point. Take it day by day, like there's any other choice. Maybe I'm a little too at ease. I didn't always sing myself to sleep. You're still with me. That's what people who love me say. And I hope I figure out how to believe them someday, because I think that's something that I'm going to need. I didn't always sing myself to sleep. You sing me lullabies in other languages, and I still don't know what they mean. Like a little piece of you to know that that's still there left for me. I'm okay, but that's not the point. And either way, I'm still your boy. I hear your voice in my mind bringing me peace. I didn't always sing myself to sleep." And I thought that was a really like beautiful tribute to his parent, and something that I resonate with, because people ask me like, "How are you doing?" And it's like, I'm okay, but there's still like there's always going to be that part of me that misses my dad and everything. But yeah, throughout this album, that's the one song dedicated to his mom, and then he also talks about relationships, and he's found love, but he also talks about like past relationships. So if you're into that singer-songwriter, slightly poppy kind of album, then I highly recommend JP Saxe's Dangerous Levels of Introspection.
Oh man, even the title is a dead giveaway that Carson should not listen to this.
Yeah,
That's sad.
There are some sad songs. There's also some happy ones too. So I also want to.
I average like 4 cries a day during every sick day. Just from in my more emotional, vulnerable state, physical ailment, like mental, or like just it hurt my head, right?
Yeah.
My head hurt. It's gonna make my eyes rain.
but these head movies make my eyes rain.
5 more sleeps.
Oh, Tropic Thunder for the win.
Oh man, that was up next in the queue last night on HBO. I was like, I have to go to bed.
Yeah, it's a long movie, but
that's
great.
a gem.
Okay, so I have another album for you that is more happy. Surfaces has a new album. They're the ones that sing Sunday Best, like feeling good,
feeling good. Okay,
yeah. They have an album that's like nice vacation-y type. All that. Tyler, the Creator, has a new album out. I'm a fan of it. You can check it out if you're into hip hop. And then I have a show that sorry, I know we were about to get out of here, but
dude, there's no timeline.
You ever hear about the show Songland? This is new to me, and I always thought Songland was the show Nashville, which was like a scripted Hayden Panettiere. She's trying to become famous and become like a country singer. I always thought that's what Songland was, so I never paid any attention to it. Songland is not a scripted show. It's a reality show in which Ryan Tedder, who is the lead guy from One Republic. He's also a huge producer. He's probably produced a lot of songs that you like and didn't know he had a hand in it. And then there's two other producers that I'm not super familiar with, but maybe you are. They are on every single episode, but one celebrity per episode will come on, and then 4 singer-songwriters will come onto the show, and they will sing their song. The celebrity for that episode will... What's up?
Wait, was one of these episodes Dua Lipa?
Potentially.
Dude, yes, this thing is amazing what you're describing.
Yes.
I've seen a couple episodes of that.
So I've seen one, and so I'm going to walk you through it. So we have these 3 producers. We have a celebrity. The celebrity episode that I watched was the singer H.E.R, H.E.R. She does a lot of R&B. So 4 singer-songwriters came onto the show. H.E.R paired 3 of them with, one singer-songwriter per producer, and then one got sent home. And she gives the singer-songwriters notes with their producer. They create the song, and then that celebrity, in this case H.E.R, picks one of those songs, and she records and performs it. So like the singer-songwriter will get a cut, and then the producer and the celebrity on that episode, like they all create a song together. And you can find these songs on streaming services. And so I watched the episode with H.E.R, and I am in love with this. I find it so much more rewarding than watching, if you're an American Idol fan or The Voice, anything like that. I'm like, I love seeing these super talented people actually create music throughout this episode. And then you get to log on like Apple Music or Spotify and listen to it. It was super cool.
I might have been conflating something.
Okay.
Because I looked through the shows for Songland, and I was
There's
following
not Dua Lipa?
I was following episode by episode, and just to try to see if it might have just been like a documentary about the creation of a particular song that I thought was really great. But yeah, what you're describing sounds awesome.
Yeah, and there's tons of different types of artists. So like the Jonas Brothers have been on. Usher
Raymond, Boyz II Men.
Yeah, Florida Georgia Line, Ben Platt, Julia Michaels. I was just talking about her man, JP Saxe, right?
Oh, wow.
Meghan Trainor. Yeah, tons. John Legend, tons of different artists. And so if you're into that music thing, man, these songs will get stuck in your head, and you'll be mad that not all of them become a finished product. Like, because I heard 4 songs in this episode, only one of them wins out and actually becomes like a full-fledged song, but they're all like really good. So I would recommend the show Songland if you're into music and that.
Songland on NBC.
Yeah,
I guess it's on Peacock.
I watch it. They have season 2 on Hulu.
Okay. Good tip.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to talk about that, and then
I've got a YouTube recommendation.
Hit me.
So y'all know that I'm on I love Tim Dillon rants and Lex Friedman, JRE. I'm on Spotify for that, but one of the YouTube channels that I found kind of rewarding recently is this channel called Cold Fusion.
Okay.
And it's brief synopses of like various stories, typically to do with like a business or a financial interest, often with, schemes, like Theranos, Enron, different conspiracy heists or whatever, like Cold Fusion, or even like, the top 6 brands that, messed up and went away, like, Blockbuster and, these different products or companies. And this guy just does a very thoughtful job of kind of compiling a lot of compelling footage and, cuts and graphs and different things like that in a pretty unbiased way to give you kind of and he extends the benefit of the doubt as well in some of his critiques or narratives. But Cold Fusion seems to be a pretty cool channel.
Okay. Yeah. I'm actually going to write that down now, and I'll let you know my thoughts.
What was your next reco? You had one coming for some. I feel like I cut you off.
As far as music goes, I was saying JP Saxe, Surfaces, Tyler the Creator,
Songland on NBC for
Songland,
shows.
Check that out as far as show goes. I also wanted to point out Ed Sheeran has a new song out, and I did not enjoy it, but that's just, maybe I'm just a hater.
I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah. yeah, there's some other stuff that we can just kind of get into now.
By the way, the Dallas, Texas Twitter thing that you and John put me on, it has me like, we live in a war zone.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Uptown, first of all, is worse than I even thought.
Yeah.
Like, just shootings and mass brawls and goodness. And like the one yesterday of that lady coming out of that liquor store with that and hitting that person and hitting that car, like,
bro,
oh my goodness,
wild.
That thing is crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's so relevant. Like, I was headed home the other day and I saw that big plume of smoke over by the Virgin Hotel. And then I see on Dallas, Texas Twitter later, like, what it was, like cars on fire in a garage across from Virgin Hotel. Like, I was like, goodness, this is so like relevant and proximate to me.
Yeah, man. The road rage off Campbell
Oh
and Richardson.
My goodness.
Just like beating the dude through his truck window.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's like road rage shootings and a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Go follow Dallas, Texas Twitter on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying if you're into that
Dallas
kind of
TV, I think like it's insane.
Yeah. Yep. So those are my plugs. Yeah, that's about it. I'm just going to be working on my master's classes. We're done in person. We're done with our instruction, and now I just have like a research proposal, and then like 14 articles that I have to write. Like it's going to be a crazy. July's going to be a crazy month. I have a meeting with some of my people here later this evening to discuss our group project. But
that Zoom call is later this evening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you out of here, buddy. But I just wanted to give a shout out to all the people that reached out to me. I can't tell you how many friends, like Shellbell, Perry, like random people, all sorts of friends offered to, go get me food or, oh, I wish I was there. Like very, very thoughtful. I can't tell you how much that lifted my spirits. And I'd say I'm in the 80s percentiles at this point and creeping up the 90, and we'll be back to normal. So thank you for that.
Glad you're feeling better.
Love and support.
Awesome. All right, man.
Without further ado, we will catch you up next time.
Peace.